Hello, hello, hello. My heart is beating fast. My voice might shake, but it won't last for so long. It feels surreal to take the train, come to Montpellier, and be here with you. It has been 2 years. We were in Zooms, and we got used to it. That's the problem with us. Thank you, Judith. Thank you, Toma, also known as Thomas, and Bidisha for organizing this workshop and bringing us all together here. Thank you for being here. And let's start with our panel. The panel is divided into 3 parts. In part 1, I will provide context and I will introduce you to the director and to the film. In part 2, we will screen the film. And in part 3, I will have a dialogue with the director, asking him a few questions and then opening the floor for discussion. Sounds good? Yes. Let's start. So I'm gonna provide you with a general context, going from Muslim presence in France in general, and narrowing it to the Moroccan community in Corsica as the film deals or talks about a specific theme with the Moroccans in Corsica. In the EU, we estimate that there are about between 18 to 20 million Muslims living in the European Union. We also estimate that there are between 5 to 6 million Muslims living in France. France houses the biggest Muslim community in the EU, about 1/3, as well as the biggest Jewish community in the EU. I used the term estimate because the French law does not allow conducting any official census based on religion or ethnicity. 75% of the Muslims in France are of Maghrebi origin. They came from the ex-French colonies of Algeria, Morocco, and Tunisia. We can find them everywhere in France, but the biggest community, which is about 1.7 million, lives in Paris and its suburbs, making it the biggest Muslim community concentration in the EU. We have Muslims in Grenoble and its surroundings, Lyon. In Marseille, 25% of the population, 1 in 4 is Muslim, and the number of inhabitants in Marseille is 1 million. Having said that, and since we are here to talk about fanatic ethics, I won't go on about Muslims' life in France. I will talk about their death. And according to the 2021 Yearbook of Muslims in Europe, quote, according to the Ministry of Interior, around 75% of French Muslims are repatriated to be buried in their country of origin, end quote. The Tunisian state covers the repatriation cost of its citizens. French Algerians have what is called burial insurance or assurance décès, and there are many funeral homes or pompes funèbres specialized in repatriation, and they offer annual contracts of burial insurance. So when someone dies, the pompe funèbre or the funeral home takes care of everything from the moment the person dies until he reaches the cemetery in Algeria or any other country. Moroccans, they also have what is called insurance or burial insurance, but it traditionally started with Bank al-Sha'bi or the popular Moroccan bank. So when you open an account, you also get an insurance to be repatriated. Speaking of Moroccans, let's concentrate or focus on the Moroccan community in Corsica. The total inhabitants of Corsica is about 320,000 inhabitants. 15% are of foreign origin or immigrants. 34% of all immigrants in Corsica are Moroccans. Actually, some critics believe that the first foreign community to get to Corsica is the Moroccan community. Now, Moroccan community in Corsica has a work history, and Moroccan workers can be divided into two categories. Those who came in the 60s and lived there and work there, mainly in construction. And the second category is the seasonal workers who come to work, guess in what industry? What do we get from Corsica? Pardon mon anglais, clémentine. And the saying goes, no Moroccans, no Corsican clémentine. So they come to work in the clémentine industry in Corsica. So this is just a background about it. Let's move to the director. The director, Amine Sabir, was born in Casablanca. He arrived to France as a student at the age of 22 in 1989. He arrived to the city of Rennes, where he did a master in geology. Then he went 2 years to the School of Engineering, and he worked as a software engineer for 12 years in Rennes. In 2005, he decided that he wants to become an actor. He went to Paris, and he went to the School of Theater, and he did a 3-year program in the School of Theater, but it didn't work out. He didn't become a famous actor. So he decided to try something else, and he applied to the Institut Universitaire de Technologie at Corte in Corsica, and he was accepted. This program lasts for 1 year, and during this year, the student has to write a scenario and make a film. And he spent this year, and the result was the film that we are going to watch today. It was his first film, and it's called Le Voyage de la Boîte. In English, Sending Saeed Home. In Arabic, رحلة في الصندوق. The Arabic word صندوق, Moroccans use it for coffin, cercueil. However, there is an Arabic word for cercueil, for coffin, which is taboot. And here, if you think about it, you use the same Arabic term for a box of clementine and for a coffin, صندوق. So, the film speaks of Abdel Karim, who arrives to Corsica from Paris to repatriate the body of his friend Saeed, who died in impoverished conditions. Abdel Karim had to find a way to ship the body of Saeed to his family in Morocco as soon as possible. The film accompanies the body, the voyage of the body from the moment the person dies until we check in the coffin into the airplane. The film was shot in 2013 in Bastia, in Corsica. It was screened in more than 30 festivals in 2014. It won 5 prizes in 2015, and actually it was aired on the public channel of the Moroccan TV, Corsican TV, and French TV. Without further ado, let's watch Amine's first film, Le Voyage de la Boîte.
Oh Merci. Je suis désolée, monsieur. Monsieur Chalkhaoui n'a pas d'assurance rapatriement chez nous.
Je ne comprends pas.
Écoutez, notre assurance ne pourra pas régler les frais de rapatriement de monsieur Chalkhaoui. Il a bien un compte chez nous, mais il n'a pas d'assurance rapatriement, il n'a pas pris cette option.
Qu'est-ce que je dois faire?
Il faudra que quelqu'un règle les frais.
الله يجازيكم بخير. وسيدي واحد السيد جا من باري مات ليه صاحبه هنايا يقولوا له سعيد الشرقاوي.
كنسمع به ولكن ما كيعمرش بزاف مع المغرب، ما كيعمرش بزاف. كنسمع به.
الخوت هذا السيد ما عندوش راسورانس. لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم. ما عندوش راسورانس ودابا الله يجازيكم بخير خصنا نجمعوا له باش نلقاو نصيفطوه لعند أهله. وحنا الخوت غادي نشوفوا إن شاء الله مع الجمعية. إن شاء الله. لعل وعسى يكون على يديهم التيسير. إن شاء الله. ويقفوا معنا إن شاء الله. ونحن كإمام يقدروا يديروا بالكلمة ديالنا. لعل وعسى يساعدهم ربي. والله تبارك وتعالى قال وتعاونوا على البر والتقوى ولا تعاونوا على الإثم والعدوان. بالله تبارك وتعالى يسهل الامر ان شاء الله على يديهم. الله يجزاكم بخير. هذا ما وقع. الله يرحمه ويوسع عليه. الله يجزاكم بخير. وجعلنا من بين ايديهم سدا ومن خلفهم سدا فغشيناهم فهم لا يبصرون وسواء عليهم أأنذرتهم أم تنذرهم لا يؤمنون.
Okay, the first question, Amine. What brought you to the theme of death and body repatriation? Why did you decide to choose this theme as a topic of your film?
Hello, it works?
Sabina, it works?
Yeah, as I said to Judith, as I'm doing training in English here, it's great. What bring me to talk with death at this time? Because it was 10 years ago, 2010, 11. So firstly, the first time I heard about repatriation, it was I came to France at 1989, just the year of the fall of the wall. And 5 years ago or 4, I was in Morocco. I was teenager, and my tante living in Brittany in Rennes. So she died by accident, and she was repatriated to Morocco, and I refused to go to see her because it was. I liked her. She was very kind with me. She brought me a lot of presents from France. So I dreamed about France. So, and this first time I heard about repatriation. The second time I
just to verify, you came to France in 89,
89.
but she passed away in 84.
Yeah, 5
84.
years ago. Yeah.
You were still in Morocco.
Yes, I
Yeah,
was.
5
yeah.
years before your arrival
Yeah,
to France.
yeah. I was in lycée. I don't know with
High school.
High school. The second thing it was I was haunted by image, one image from a film. It was a film from Turkish German Fatih Akin, who did a film named De l'autre côté, the other side. And in the film, it's a story about a woman who came from Turkey, Kurdish, living in Turkey, came to Germany to work. And I think she was a prostitute, and she died. And before she sent money to her daughter in Turkey, and the body was repatriated, and there was an image from the coffin. You said coffin on the tapis, le tapis de l'aéroport. So maybe please
On the belt where the...
help us. So it was image. It really haunted me. Maybe it was about. I came from poor neighborhood. That coming to France, it was very difficult, very hard. So for me, it wasn't. Sure, I came to study, but it was more like it came to escape from misery, from a lot of things, less lake for freedom and a lot of things. So there's this image, and the second image, it was some second event in this, just before going to Corsica to apply and I started to write because I was in very, very difficult situation. So in 2008, I stopped a good job in France Telecom, Orange, at this time. And I wanted to be an actor, okay, and I failed. I feel that I failed. But for me, I failed. Failed, okay. And I was in depression, so all my dreams are shut down, and I looked for something to do, something else, and I began to write, and naturally I talk about repatriation, all the stories, fiction. There was a Moroccan dead at my age at this time, so it's kind of for me it was kind of express my depression, my failing as an actor.
So like you found death and body repatriation as a way to deal with your depression and feeling down.
Yeah.
Okay, you get to Corsica.
Yeah.
You start to film, and you decide to do this film. What was the path that you took? What was the process? How did you start? Where did you start? How did it go? How did the film come into making?
Okay. So I went to Corsica in October 2012. So I applied firstly with the fiction I wrote before, but strangely when I came to Corsica, I felt a foreigner for the first time of my life. I felt foreigner because it was 20 years I was in France. I married. I had a son in Brittany, so I feel like everybody. So when in France we talk about integration. I don't know if everybody knows about this topic. So I felt integrated. So, but when I went to course, I felt a foreigner. So as a basic immigrant, so as a worker, so and it was very hard to go to Corsica, this island. I go with my car. I drive all the day from Paris. Yeah, from Paris to Corsica. It takes one day, and I took the ferry. It's all the night, so I don't have money to have a cabin. So I slept outside. So it was very as an immigrant. So and so I needed. So we had to choose in the studies doing a documentary or a fiction. But I feel the idea of documentary very good, and because it gives me a link to go to see people, and I went to see Moroccans. I felt a need to go to see people.
To find people like yourself?
Yeah, maybe, yeah. In the same situation, in the same, from the community, so, yeah.
So like in Corsica, you felt foreigner and you needed to find someone like you to assure you.
Yeah,
Okay.
but in the idea to make a film.
In
That's in the idea. So maybe I thought that my community will help me to make a film. It's
Okay.
very strange, but it's the reality.
Okay, you play in the film.
Yeah.
You have the role Abdel Karim, and if I'm not mistaken, you used your own personal car.
Yeah.
What made you decide to play in the film and to use your own personal car?
So firstly, maybe I want to talk why I switched from documentary to fiction.
That was the next question.
Okay.
But do you,
Okay.
do you want me to?
Yeah.
Okay, in the world of cinema, you have to categorize the film. And when I looked up your film, it was under the category fiction. But after watching it, it's neither fiction nor documentary. It's sort of kind of in between.
Yeah.
Can you elaborate on this, please?
Yeah, thank you. So as I said, I needed to do this documentary by doing the links with people, and for several months we have two people two directors who helped us to write from the Greek. It's a group of researchers of cinematographics, like something like this. And I write a documentary. So it was I wanted to film the past of a dead Moroccan dead, of course, from the moment he dies to the moment the airplane take off. So I had the constraints. Yeah, thank you. So I'm learning English at the same time. And it was, I have to film in Corsica because the film was funded by Corsica. So I could not shoot in Morocco. It was for the costs. So the documentary have to be the film the past, meaning going to the bank because I did the researches in the bank, the funeral home,
Pompe
funèbre, the Moroccan consulate, the hospital because the morgue was in the hospital, and all the
places
steps.
involved.
Yeah. And there happens something very, very strange. It's who really bouleversé. Really
bothers you.
Yeah, only changed all my plans. I was really I want to did some research. I want to attend a funeral washing.
Like he went to attend the ritual washing and the shrouding of a dead at the morgue.
Yeah. So when I did it, I met a dead man his name is Ali, and I was shocked because I did not expect that the people doing the washing. I said the imam in the story in the film, the man. So they asked me to help them to wash the dead, and this man was frozen because in the law you don't you can't. I don't know. You have to stay 1 week, and after you have to freeze because
Staying in the morgue in France, you have to pay on it. Like if somebody dies and goes to the morgue, the first 3 days in the morgue in a public hospital is free. After that, the family has to pay for it. So if there is nobody to pay, it has to go into deep freezing. And this is the case he described.
Yeah. So I helped for this funeral, for this washing, and after this man was a kind of artist. He was a painter. I didn't know him, so I know this after the, and he has no family, and he was kind of outside the community. So he was intellectual, maybe he was outside. So
He didn't live in the same quarter where the Moroccans
Yeah,
live.
he didn't go to the cafe and like the Moroccan there and play with the cards. And he has this problem of I don't know if it was insurance, and I think the consulate cannot send him because they cannot contact someone in Morocco.
So there was no contact person.
Yeah, so it's very difficult. So when I came, it was okay because they find a niece or I don't know cousin, and we did the wash, and after the funeral home take it in the car, and they go to the to the airport, and I was very gêné.
Touched
Because no one went with him, so and I follow him with my car as in the film, almost, and I was really touched, as I felt as it was a member of my family. And after I come back to Corti because I was studying in the University of Corti, which is in the center of Corsica in the mountains. And I have to meet a consultant, a director who supervised the study. So and I cried, so really touched. And I spent maybe 2 weeks really touched. I didn't want to make the film. So because before I was, when you want to work a film, you have to be creative. You have to talk about images, the beauty of a lot of things. But what I lived was really mosh, ugly, and after I had a good idea, and this idea it made me be again in creativity and a lot of things, and it was to rewrite in fiction the film.
Can you tell us more? What is the fiction side of the story? What is the documentary side of the story?
So for me, it's I said the documentary is the path of the dead, and I just for me what was easy I just make the fiction, but and the path, but I just replace the director, because the director, me as the director, I was going at all these places and ask, and I put this this man going from Paris who has to go in all these places.
Correct me if I'm mistaken, but the corpse washer in the film, actually his job is a corpse washer.
Yeah,
he did not play.
No, he's really
He was a corpse washer.
And the man in the cafe was really the man in the cafe. So, firstly, I wanted to the man from the funeral home play. So I did a casting with him, and I filmed him, but I wasn't satisfied. So I have an actor. So for the bank, the same. For the bank, I asked for the woman who worked in the bank. So, and she told me that I have to go to Paris to ask the head of office of the bank. I did it. So I go to the bank in Paris, but he said no, you don't. So I can't film with the woman,
No.
and I bring an actress. So.
Okay, I have one more question, and then I'll give the opportunity to my colleagues. I have been conducting field research, ethnographic field research in Marseille in the last 3 years, and I will tell you more about it in my talk tomorrow, but I work on the Algerian community in Marseille, and I deal with the question, where do they want to be buried and why, whether they choose repatriation or local burial. And I have been foreigner or living outside of my homeland for more than 22 years, and I never thought of this, but since I have been conducting this research, I started thinking where I'm gonna be buried. And I still haven't figured it out. And I wonder if making this film made you raise the same question. Do you know where are you gonna be buried? Why are you laughing?
So I think 30 years. I went to the bank 30 years.
30 years ago?
The first time I had an account in France, so I went to the Banque Shabi, it's
With
a
the Popular Bank?
and they asked me, they asked me, oh, there's an option you can, and I didn't know, I don't want this option.
Like, you know, when you go to open an account in the Moroccan Popular Bank, they tell you, okay, there is an option that you can also take an insurance. So when he opened his account, they proposed it, and he said, no, I don't want to take burial insurance. And it was the same case in the film. Saeed, who died, he opened an account, but he didn't take an insurance. That's why there was a problem how to find the money to repatriate him.
And in the time of the film, it means 10 years ago, because I begin at 2012. I didn't know. And after the film, I didn't have insurance. I still don't have this insurance. And what I talked to myself, because my father is living in Morocco, he has 90.
He's 90 years
He's
old.
90 years old. And I'm telling myself today, if I died before my father dying, so I would like to be repatriated, just because my father would not come to France. And if just before, after, so I want to be repatriated.
So if you die before your dad, you want to be buried in Morocco?
Yeah.
And if you die after your dad,
Yeah.
you want to be buried in
France.
Why do you want to be buried in France?
I have a son here
So
in
it's
France, and my life is here.
Yeah. And on this note, please, I open the floor for you. René, le microphone, s'il vous plaît. Merci.
It's more comment than a question. Thank you so much for. Thank you so much for agreeing to screen the film. Whenever I see it again, it's just as powerful as the first time. So it's more a comment than a question. And I'm going back to what you were saying at the beginning about your depression and also how you reconnected with the community. So in fact, you reconnected with your own life and also with your own creativity, as well as the community of the living, by following the route of that dead body and the dead body of your friend. Is that excessive to say it in that way, or is that correct? You reconnected with the community of the living.
Yeah.
Thanks to the dead.
Yeah. I think in my, for example, if I just to be honest, I am not. It's very personal, but I'm not. Je ne crois pas en Dieu. It's very personal, but I can say it.
He said, those who don't speak French, I don't believe in God.
But I am linked to the tradition, so I respect people who go into the mosque. I respect the tradition, and it's important for me. Like I talked about the story of this man Ali, who really died, and I go with him to the taking off of the airplane. I really respect and connecting with this tradition is important for me, and it is important to show it to the public, to the public in France, and so that was, and I was very happy when I showed the film in France, and not for the Moroccan or Maghrebian or Arabs, but for the French people. People was very interested that they didn't know about what happened. They have some friends and in France, some friends, but they don't know what is the traditions when someone dies. So I was very happy to show this. It's so to show this kind of my tradition, my community of me.
Just taking on this, just to explain something, if you noticed in the film, the mom was really stressed. She wanted the body to get home quickly. According to Islamic tradition, the biggest respect you could pay the dead is burying him. That's why in Islam, when somebody dies at 10, by midnight he's buried. That's one thing. The second thing is, how was the film received in France, in Morocco? I saw some articles in Arabic in the Moroccan newspaper talking about it. How did Morocco, France, how was the film received?
And Corsica, in Corsica.
also as well.
In Corsica is so very good by the people. So maybe I can show.
If you
the
have
photo?
if you can,
The-
the
you-
email. I sent you the PowerPoint via email.
okay. Okay, so there was a photo that I wanted to show, and there was two people from the film. There was holding the prize I won in Morocco. So it was very it was as the won the prize. So for the Corsican, for the Moroccan Corsican, it was very they were proud. So we organized 2 or 4 or 3 screening. They came, and I bring them to the
panel, to the
to
podium,
panel,
to the
so
podium.
there was applause, and I was very happy. The consulate, Moroccan consulate, they helped me to make the film. I shot in the consulate, in the Moroccan consulate, but didn't happy, because in the film I didn't show that the consulate helped the man. So
And in France, how
in
was
France, I was a little bit disappointed by the institutions. Maybe the film has a form of 30 minutes, and in general, the short films are under 20. And maybe it was a problem to have a
screen it?
success. Yeah, but I went to the biggest festival in the world in shorts. It's Clermont-Ferrand. Is really. I went there, and in many places in France. So I had a lot of screen, but it could be more. It could be more important. I was disappointed by this.
Okay, you wish it were screened more.
Yeah. Mm.
Yes, thank you. Women play very small parts in your film. They are typically the sympathetic receptionist at the beginning, or the lady in the consulate, or at the morgue, or at the bank. But the whole weight of the story is on the shoulders of the men. And I wonder if this is something that you contrived like that from the beginning, if there was any particular reason for that. Maybe you can just explain. Thank you.
Tu peux m'aider?
Oui.
Sorry.
Elle a posé la question, elle a dit, j'ai remarqué que la plupart des comédiens qu'ils jouent, c'est les hommes. Et est-ce que vous avez... C'était un exprès qu'il n'y a pas de femmes? C'est que les femmes, just يعني يتقبلوا الحاجة في البنك في
Okay.
There's also the disembodied voice of the grieving mother in the mother.
Yeah.
That's also very important.
And she said, elle a dit aussi, صوت الأم سعيد في المغرب. يعني كان صوت الأم، كانت المرأة في القنصلية، كانت المرأة في البنك، ولكن le présence c'est le présence masculin.
Yeah. Thank you for this question. It just was the reality. So if yeah, the bank it was a girl. So the bank it was a girl. The woman in the consulate, it was my assistant in the film. It was Fatima. She's working as a film assistant in Corsica now, from 10 years now. The home funeral, it was a man. He was a man.
If I may add something,
So it was a reality.
funeral homes, this industry of death, sadly, is gendered. It's, based on my work, I work with 8 funeral homes. Luckily, I found 2 conseillers funéraires, two women, but mostly the people who work with the funeral homes are men. And also in Islam, according to Islamic tradition, male has to wash male, female has to wash female, but only kids from 8 and below can be washed either by a male. And also in Islamic tradition, it's encouraged that the wife washes the husband washes the wife, the son washes the father, like, you know.
The brother,
But it's, you know, it's gendered, whether religiously or in business.
But when I said firstly that I planned firstly to do a documentary. So when I wanted to do a documentary, I went and I met a woman who washed the woman. But as I changed the story, so it changed.
So for your information, there is what is called the male who washes the dead bodies. We call it like ghusl. And ghusl is the ritual washing of the body. The man, we call it ghassal. And the woman, we call it ghassala. And there is a beautiful book by Sinan Antoun, who wrote The Corpse Washer. And he's a professor of literature at NYU, but he's originally from Iraq. And it's one of the most beautiful novels talking about the tragedy in Iraq after the American invasion and how he uses death and washing the bodies of the dead to talk about the tragedy and he wrote it originally in Arabic, and then he himself translated it into English. It's a beautiful, beautiful novel, The Corpse Washer, by Sinan Antoun. Merci beaucoup.
J'ai une question. Peut-être je vais la poser en français, je traduirai en anglais. Il y a un fort contraste entre la façon dont vous parlez de l'aide, du soutien qui est apporté par la communauté et l'absence d'aide qui est apportée par la famille au Maroc. Hein, il y a beaucoup d'exigences, mais en même temps, quand on leur demande quelque chose, ils n'arrivent pas à fournir le papier et ils coupent court à la conversation. Et je me demandais, qu'est-ce que ça veut dire pour vous? Qu'est-ce que vous avez voulu dire par là? Je traduis en anglais. I was saying that there is a strong contrast between the support, how supportive is the local community or Moroccan community, and the absence of support and the provided by the family abroad. So I wanted to know what it means. That's it.
So the help, maybe the solidarity of Moroccans in the film. I didn't see it in Corsica, but it's something that exists really. All the Muslims know that in all the mosques sometimes there is someone who bring.
How do you call in French la caisse noire? Yeah.
No, it's not this. No. It's not la caisse noire. No. No, it's not like a snow. It's collection of money. So someone come to the mosque. He said, "Please, you Muslims, someone dies. He doesn't have the insurance. Please, you can give some money." And the people give money. So, they do the reputation with this money. So it's very common. I knew about this before doing the film, and I use it in the film. And maybe. For the contrast you said, I come from Morocco. I spent 22 years, and I know how it's difficult to obtain papers or very basic paper. So I hope there is no one from the Moroccan administration, but at that time, just to be. If someone from Morocco see me on the site, I don't know. But in that time, 30 years ago, it was very difficult. You have some time to pay money, to have just the acte de naissance. And I wanted to make some pics, because. Everybody knows in Morocco, papers are very difficult to obtain, and you go the day after, and you spend 2 weeks to just have the Like de naissance, par exemple, comment?
A birth certificate.
Ça,
Like
yeah,
it's
so-
very hard to get documents from the Moroccan administration, and sometimes you need to bribe them.
C'est une critique politique, bien sûr, ouais, exactement. Une petite comme ça.
Thomas, next. Please, please.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great.
Yeah.
So first, congratulations for
Thank
finally
you.
being an actor.
Thank you.
Well, it happens.
never too late.
Yeah. Never too late.
It happens. So your dream came true. And thanks for sharing the film, because I think it reflects around a universal question, which is death.
Yeah.
That connects with everyone, regardless religion, ethnicity, whatever. So there is a sense of fear, probably, or from the unknown, which is death.
Yeah.
That's why maybe you didn't answer the question of with your insurance where you would like to be buried. So I also think that the film reflects certain notion as the community in terms of just participating to help sending back the body without even knowing the person. So there is this fear towards death, I think, in particular in Islam. Also treating the dead body. So after, I can see that in the faces of the men after reciting the prayers and after washing the dead body, there is a kind of sorrow and sadness this is something powerful they can't control, and they have to contribute to treat appropriately this dead body and send it back home. Thank you for sharing. I mean, the film is really pregnant of meaning, and immigration and the paper procedures, the home, belonging, etc. And I was just concerned about the title of, maybe it's a silly question, but the title of the film, because as the film is connected with different ideas and questions, death, immigration, body, lots of other themes, but choosing the title of Sending Saeed Home, did you feel it fits with the entire...
I can talk about the title. Firstly, I didn't have a title, so when I wanted to do the documentary, and I remember when we worked on what we call in French dossier of a documentary. So there is intention of the director, so there's a script and the all the things, and I told about janaza. Janaza is funeral in Arabic. So the person supervisor said, it's good, good title, janaza. But after, so I just think, and I to what when people in Morocco, when they talk about someone who is repatriated, as you said, there is no there's no name for coffin, but they say, they bring her or him in the box. So people say like this, but it's as a curse, malediction.
It's like, when you say, okay, they repatriated the body, in Morocco, in colloquial, they don't use even the term taboot nor the verb repatriated. If they receive somebody or the coffin that was repatriated, they will say they brought him in the sunduk, they brought him in the box.
And something very important that in that time, 10 years ago, I don't know today what if it's still okay or not. In Muslims tradition, the people are buried in
they are buried in soil, also in the
linceul.
Yeah, the shroud.
Shroud, yeah.
Shrouded.
Just
without the
in
coffin.
the ground, so without box. But people, repatriated people are buried with the box. So
which surprises me.
In Morocco.
In Morocco.
You say that maybe it's not this in Morocco.
I
And,
don't know if it's still the case the same, because actually many Muslims, they want to repatriate it because they want to be buried according to Islamic tradition, facing Mecca and in direct soil without the coffin. And actually I got surprised with, and Amine told me
Yeah.
that those Moroccans who get repatriated, according to the Moroccan law back then 10 years ago, they couldn't open the coffin, they had to bury the coffin as it arrives from France.
yeah, and the family has to just to see the dead. There is just a little window, just a hublot, little window, and that's why so it's because it's a curse, and I found it's maybe in that time that it was good for the title, the travel, the trip in the box, Voyage dans la boîte.
Please, Justine.
Merci. En français aussi peut-être d'abord.
Yeah,
Moi, j'avais, suite à votre... déjà merci pour ce documentaire qui est très frappant et très prenant. Je me demandais en fait si les communautés de part et d'autre de la mer, après, avaient entretenu un lien quelconque, ou la famille recevant le corps, est-ce que par la suite elle a éprouvé le besoin, est-ce qu'elle éprouve le besoin de rentrer en contact avec la communauté qui a aidé à ce que le corps soit rapatrié, ou est-ce qu'il y a eu un échange? So my question is there afterwards a link between the two communities, the one in Morocco who received the body and the community in Corsica who helped?
I don't think so. I think because maybe communication between the two sides is still difficult. So in the case of there is help and solidarity, I don't think so that the people from Morocco call the people from France. I don't think so. Yeah, it's in general in general people from Morocco, when they have family in France or in Europe, the family has to call. People because all the time people from France have more money, so you have to call. Even I just I wonder all the time, why don't my father call me? So I have to call him. So it's just a rule. Maybe it's kind of rule.
No, I think, family members in the Maghreb. I think family members in the Maghreb and also in the Middle East, me myself being foreigner, those who left, it's the dream. It's like the American dream, when you go to the US, to the land of opportunities. So they call it à l'étranger, like abroad. And actually, when we go back to visit, they refer to us as les étrangers. So they expect, we are in a better situation financially and other. So like as if we owe them. It's like the same case when you talk about the Maghreb. There is here, when we in France refer to French of Maghrebi origin, we call them les immigrés, the immigrants with I. When we go to the Maghreb, and I experienced it myself, even though I'm not Maghrebi, they refer them to les immigrés with an E, the immigrants. And I remember it last time I was in Algeria walking in the street, one looked at me and they said, les immigrés, it shows on your face. So that's another thing. Most Maghrebis do have burial insurance. It's really rare that people don't think about it.
It's rare, yeah.
It's rare. So and I'll talk about it more tomorrow. So in case somebody dies and he has no family here and he has no insurance, here the community mobilize solidarity and they collect money and they make sure to ship him.
And I think another thing, maybe the man who can't pay the insurance, maybe also the family there is maybe in precariousness, and so you just receive the body and
And also when you pay insurance, according to the insurance, the funeral home pay a ticket to one family member to accompany the coffin back home. That's why it was very hard for him when the coffin leaves alone, nobody on board with the coffin.
Yeah, normally there is someone, including in the insurance pay for the dead and also for one person who accompany the body.
Judith, how many questions more?
One more. It's not really a question, it's more of an additional information about... Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you. So it's not really a question, more an additional information about the solidarity of the community. In Le Havre, for example, it's not concerning repatriation, but it's concerning burials. When the family cannot pay the concession because it ends up after 15 years when they are buried locally in France, there is also a call at the mosque for several days asking people to fund the renewal of the concession in the local cemetery. And this is what they do on regular basis.
You know, culturally speaking, it's amazing because in the Arabic Islamic world, whenever there is a marriage or there is a funeral or there is any event you announce at the mosque, and you see it here in Europe, whenever somebody needs help, it's done at the mosque.
Question?
Judith tells me no, but yes, last one, Judith, after your permission, Your Excellency.
Thank you. Actually, it doesn't really have to do with body repatriation, but it's got to do with the distribution of your film. Is there a network in Morocco for documentary in particular? And I was thinking of the Cinematheque in Tangiers. I mean, was it screened there?
Can you translate?
No,
Ah, pardon.
Okay.
Donc, c'est sur la distribution en fait du film au Maroc. Est-ce qu'il y a un réseau en fait pour le film documentaire en particulier?
No, it's very new. For maybe 10 years now, there is a interesting festival in Agadir. His name is Fidadoc, and it's the one of the unique. The unique, yeah, and it's kind of the place who people can diffuse. People can show the films, and they only help directors. For example, they supported me for 5 years now for my future documentary.
And on this note, he has been working 5 years, in the last 5 years, on his documentary, and guess what's the title? The Wall of Death. Thank you.
Yeah.